Welcome to the Gamer Dad podcast, where we talk about all things Magic the Gathering and gaming. We strive to make things fun, fit into our busy lives, families, keep things casual, and show you how you can too. I'm Gamer Dad Bob, a gamer since 1987. I've owned most consoles imaginable from the NES to the PS5, and of all of those, my favorite game is still Chrono Trigger from the SNES. You will pry that out of my cold dead hands. It would take an amazing, amazing game to kick that nostalgia out and everything else. I'm an IT manager, lover of sports. There's nothing going on in sports right now. This is like the worst part of the year for me. I love RPGs. I'm a father of one very energetic 5-year-old who challenged us to Mario Kart tonight, and I kicked his butt. But I can't wait for him to learn to read so he can really start playing all kinds of board games and Pokemon games and actually understand things a little bit better.
And I am Jesse Hoagie. I've been a gamer in some capacity since I was 5, which would be 1988. I can do math. And blowing into the Nintendo cartridge does make it work, regardless of what they say. Funny story, you mentioned Mario Kart. We just got a Switch too, and me and Cordelia were playing online Mario Kart.
You mean Gamer Cat Girl? What did she call herself?
Cat Gamer.
Cat Gamer.
And we were playing online, and it's absolute chaos because that's 24 people instead of 12. And then Evelyn, she's like, I want to play too. I'm like, okay, you don't expect to do so well. And she beat me. And she's 6.
Love it.
But that's what happens in games when I was literally in first. She threw the blue shell. I went from first to 22nd and finished in 20.
That sounds about right. Like, blue shell is absolutely bonkers.
It's nuts.
It's
like my dog.
She is doing some zoomies behind you there. Tonight, Jesse and I are going to talk about the greatest gaming consoles ever. And this is objective. This is not subjective, okay? So what we're talking about is it. There's no debate. Okay, maybe there is some debate. Part of this is going to be that they're some of the most impactful consoles in our lives. And I know what you might be thinking. Didn't we just touch on that last podcast? Jesse talked about the Game Boy. Or Bob, wouldn't your first console be your greatest ever? Your first love? No. So I did a count. I've owned roughly 15 gaming systems in my life. And I can easily say that there is one console for me that rises above them all. But first, we're going to let Jesse kick it off tonight. Jesse, talk about your favorite console.
I struggled with this a lot. Like you mentioned before, the Game Boy really jumped out at me. It was between two consoles, the Game Boy and the Wii. Both of them had pretty big impacts on my gaming life, and they both got me through some pretty rough times in the certain times they came out. But ultimately, it's got to be the Wii. It's got to be the Wii. So I probably spent the most time playing with friends with the Wii. This includes people coming over and hanging out with me. This includes my now wife's parents. They ended up having a Wii. My first date with her, or not my first date, my first time meeting her parents, I should say. I went over to their house. We played Rock Band on the Wii. Her father, who I think you've met, sang Battery from Metallica. And I play the guitar. And I sang Living on a Prayer. And it always comes up every time we talked about it. But that really, I think, is the biggest one for me. I think has a huge impact on where gaming in general just is today.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, like without the motion controls that are there, I don't think the modern day VR headsets would be here with the motion controls.
Oh, you're talking like the paddle things they use in those, right?
Because if you look back, I did some research, and if it's right, and I don't know if what I read was right, the first VR headset was in 1960.
That kind of tracks.
And it didn't have tracking. So like I think from what I've researched, the first one with like motion tracking or the resemblance of it was like 2010, which was after the Wii.
Okay.
So maybe they were all like together and like in cahoots or something. But the Wii dropped in 2016 or 2006 and 2016. It didn't have beefy graphics. It didn't have complicated controls. It was just you, a motion controller, in your living room. That's it. And it felt like magic.
It did.
For people who did not experience the Wii before everything else is out today, there was nothing like it at all. Like, you wanted to bowl, you just swing your arm. You wanted to play tennis, you flicked your wrist. And it was the first time that you move your body to play a game, and it was just massively fun.
Until you punch the TV out by
Until
accident.
you throw it, and yeah. And Wii Sports, which was free, by the way, when you bought the Wii, it was like the flagship game for the Wii. I don't care what anybody says, Wii Sports was it. And it came with it. It wasn't just a game. It was a family event. It was a party starter, and it was probably the reason your grandma asked for a game console that Christmas.
You're right. My parents wanted a Wii.
Yep. And bowling nights just were different because you just play the Wii. You sit down, you have fun. You hopefully don't break your TV by throwing it. And the Wii wasn't really built for gamers. It was built for everyone. Kids, parents, seniors, everybody got into the action.
They did.
Brought families together. Family night actually happened. It was the console that got us off the couch instead of sitting you in front of the couch, just sitting with a controller looking at the TV. It got you up. It got you moving. Now, it wasn't just Wii Sports either. There was many other killer games that came out with the Wii. You got Mario Galaxy. You got Twilight Princess.
Love those.
You got Mario Kart Wii, Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and Wii Fit. Now, a lot of people, I think I'm the only one that I know that had the Wii balance board.
I did.
Oh, you did? You did. Do you remember the soccer game where you go like this?
Not at all.
My in-laws, which they weren't in-laws back then, my in-laws now were so competitive about that. When me and Larissa moved in together, they demanded they keep Larissa's Wii because it had their scores on it. So that's how
that's
competitive
awesome.
it is. And it's not just the games either. Do you remember the Wii channels?
Maybe
news, weather.
Yeah, because they had the little blocks there with different things. You could even get like YouTube on the Wii, right?
Yep. You had a Netflix disc. You had to put a disc in to view Netflix. And you had the Me Making channel, which introduced Mii's. You had the Virtual Console, where the first place you could get virtual NES and Super NES games.
GameCube. I played GameCube as well.
You could put GameCube discs in there.
Yep.
I still have that's why I still have my GameCube games, because I can put them on my Wii, which is behind me, is right below there. You can't really see it. And it may have been weaker graphics wise than like the PS3 and the Xbox, whatever was out at the time, but it outsold them both. It pushed over 100 million units. Why? Because fun always beats power every single time. And let's be honest, it didn't change how we played, it changed who played. It brought, like I mentioned before, parents, it brought older people, it brought casual people, it brought fitness people, and whole families together. It completely, truly changed the game, and it changed everything for me.
All I remember is how sore my arm was from the stupid bowling. Because, you'd think that throwing the ball harder would matter. And
nope, it didn't.
It didn't matter one bit. But you're like cranking that thing like you're gonna get a strike easier there or something. Like, and then you'd wake up the next day and you'd be like, did I just work out?
Nope, you played a video game.
Why are my muscles sore? Like, what is going on here? Or your legs would be sore from that. You remember like the ski jump?
Yep.
Like where you kind of have to jump on the thing. But like if you did jump, it screwed up and it broke. And well, there were people who were breaking their balance boards because they were literally jumping on them. To your point, the Wii remotes going through TVs, that wasn't just parody. Like that was happening.
Or the chaos of accidentally smacking your sibling with a remote when you're swinging.
Yes, those wrist things were actually important, and that's why they're still on the Switch 2 and the Switch 2. But I mean, that was legit. And the baseball, like you said, the golf was fun.
Everything.
Twilight Princess was a blast. Did you actually play through that? You had that one?
I did not play through it. I played it, but I didn't play it all the way through.
Okay. So, like, the Ganon boss fights, they typically build in like a match of tennis, and they've been doing that since Link to the Past, which was the SNES one, where you're batting a ball of light back and forth of energy. And they built that into the game also in Twilight Princess for the final boss fight. And I had so much trouble with that because it actually required finesse and not like flailing your arm around to hit it back, because you'd like double hit and the sword would swing twice and then you get smacked with it. That was the hardest friggin' boss fight because you had to actually have finesse with it. And I distinctly remember like giving up at one point and going, oh my God, this is hell because the controller's too sensitive.
Mm-hmm. I remember playing NHL 2K10, and you could flick the wrist to shoot the puck.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it perfect, like get there. And then Resident Evil 4 was on there, and you could aim with
That's
the
cool.
controller. It was amazing. It really was. And then Wii Sports Resort came out, which was a sequel to Wii Sports.
That had the archery.
Table tennis. Yep, table tennis,
Okay.
archery. It had volleyball. It had all kinds of stuff.
I vaguely remember that. So my experience with the Wii is not as unifying as yours. Like, I bought it, but my parents also wanted it, so we split the cost. But
it wasn't that expensive either. I think it was only like $250.
I was thinking it was $250. I think that's
something
right.
like that.
I got it at the time it released, so when it was in high demand. I managed to get it off of a Costco website. Costco seems to keep things in stock that is hard.
That's funny because the place to get a Switch 2 is Costco right now.
That's right. That's right. I got my Nintendo Wii on Costco, and it didn't go in my room. I wasn't allowed to put it in my own room
because your parents wanted to play it.
It went on the family TV, and they played it, and they had a blast. It was fun and all, and I never got to put it in my room. But the problem was that we talked about in our last gaming episode. What happens when Bob wants to play the Wii and people want to watch TV on the main TV? It was a problem there.
It was a problem. Nintendo has...
Well, we can play together. No, I want to watch... I don't know what the hell was on in the early 2000s. House MD.
Yeah, that was on, wasn't it?
I want to watch the
Nintendo
Yankees games.
Has a reputation for revolutionizing gaming.
I agree.
Because Game Boy revolutionized completely. Nintendo kind of did too. The Wii, 100%. The Switch, 100%. Switch 2,
are we ignoring
that? I don't.
Are we ignoring the Wii U?
The Wii U, I never actually played the Wii U. I never played the Wii U because it had such bad reviews.
Yeah, I guess the software was really buggy and laggy. It was just, I think the hardware was bad too. I think they were just trying to capitalize on the Wii name, and they're like, let's throw this piece of garbage console together and see what we can do. I think it's Nintendo's worst selling console of all time.
Yeah. And that kind of what the Switch 2 is doing. It's using the Switch name to sell a bad console, in my opinion. But
we'll have Jesse's Switch review at the end if we have time. We also have a Switch 2, but it's sitting in my closet, and Santa is going to be bringing it for my little guy. So,
well, hopefully by the time it comes out in your Christmas tree, there'll be better games instead of just one game.
I was starting to look at the release schedule after we were talking about that today. I know we're off on a tangent. And I was like, are we going to get some other games for this thing? And
well, you have Metroid.
Yes.
I think Metroid comes out in 2026, I think. And then there's a Souls-like game that comes out in 2026.
We'll have the new Donkey Kong game.
Yes. Yep.
We'll have Pokemon, which my son absolutely goes bonkers for.
So
we'll be good.
I loaded Scarlet and transferred over from my first Switch to this. It looks phenomenal.
Okay.
Scarlet looks so much better, and it's so much smoother to the point where it's like, I don't remember what I'm doing, but I don't want to start over either. But it looks a lot better.
Do you still have your Aegislash that you transferred over?
I do. But what I was very disappointed at is Legends of Arceus actually runs worse on the Switch 2.
I don't know what that is.
Pokemon Legends.
You said a curious. I was like, wait,
yeah.
Isn't it?
I probably didn't say it right.
Is
Arceus?
it Arceus?
Arceus. Whatever.
It runs
the first
worse?
Open world. It actually runs worse than the Switch 2.
No, because that's what I was going to try.
The sound is super muffled. I don't know why. And it's not just me. You can tell like how bad everything is rendered just to begin with. Like everything's jagged. Everything's like, it just looks terrible.
Okay, you heard it here first. Don't play Legends of Arceus on your Switch 2s.
If that gets an update, it will be killer. Like if it looked like, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but if it looked like Scarlet, then it would be awesome. But it does not. And I guess I haven't done it yet, but Pokemon Shield, I guess, on the Switch 2 looks just as bad, if not worse.
Great.
Like they really need updates.
So some updates and patching.
Yeah.
So Jesse, talk to me a little bit more about what your workouts looked like for with the Wii balance board and everything, because that was an actual exercise tool as well. I remember doing squats and push-ups and other stuff on it. Did you use it that way?
So I didn't use it that way until Cordelia started playing it, which is my oldest. and we would have contests, like, because you can run in place and see how fast you could run, and it's like if you lift your knees up high enough, you'd be biking. You kind of bike with it, and we had contests to see who would go the furthest, the fastest.
Okay,
and she beat me because it makes his little legs. I have no idea, but my wife used it more for the workout than I did. Which
like
we used like the soccer thing. Like I said, you lean.
Yep.
To kind of hit the soccer ball, and you lean to dodge the shoe. She was.
They
very
threw shoes at you.
Oh yeah, like there'd be they'd be kicking soccer, and then you see a shoe coming, and you have to dodge the shoe, and then there'd be like a polar bear coming out, and you have to dodge, or not?
Okay, that's
a panda.
That's
you have to
funny.
dodge the panda. Yeah,
that's really funny. So, do you remember like the fat shaming built into that when you weighed yourself on that?
Oh yes, yep.
Like your me got like chubbier.
Yep,
because you were obese, and it gives you like your BMI and everything. And I had like this fat we, and I was like, "What is this nonsense?"
Like, it was thanks we.
It was like, oh god,
thanks Nintendo.
Unfortunately for me, like I was at the tail end of college, so I was starting to put on weight because I was over 25 at the time, and your metabolism slows down for those of you who are younger than 25.
Yes,
by the way, right at that 25 mark, it gets worse at 30, and oh, by the way, it gets even worse at 40. So strap in, folks, and everybody else that's 50 and older tells me it continues to go downhill. So stay active, folks. Get yourselves a Wii. And
I actually just bought a new home gym, so I'll be staying more active.
Nice. That's really cool. Let's see. What else do you have here? So did you have a favorite game out of all of this, Jesse? I mean, I know you mentioned Resident Evil 4, and that's kind of funny because I will touch on that in mine as well. Did you have a favorite Wii game that you put the most hours into?
100% easily Wii Sports.
So it just was the Wii Sports.
The free game that came with the console. Like, I cannot explain enough how competitive me and my friends were for that freaking basketball game. Like, just getting a perfect score. Like, we would be passing it around and just going and going. I had neighbors in my apartment complex at the time that I never saw before I had the Wii. They'd come over Friday nights, and we would just drink and we would play.
Yeah, we have something in common there as well as
the
we
drinking
dig
and
into
the playing.
Stuff. The drinking and the playing, our formative years, if you will. That was a big part of our gaming experience because truly it enhanced it, right?
Yeah, sure. But
sure.
And then there was drugs involved at some points, but it was playing Wii Sports while drunk and high and weed was an experience. Let me tell you.
The low scores you guys must have had for those.
Yes.
I mean, so this Wii changed your life for the better. I mean, it literally enhanced your life.
I still have it.
It brought you closer with.
It will never go away.
Your in-laws. You had something in common to talk about.
Yep.
This console enhanced your life in a very positive way. You met your wife. You guys played together. You grew your bond with your in-laws. You stayed in shape. You stayed active. You were doing all of the things. And oh, by the way, this was all with a free little game called Wii Sports.
Completely free.
Just part of
the Switch 2 game that's supposed to come with it. It's supposed to be the game, like kind of like a Wii Sports, is paid. It's not free. In order to complete that, you have to buy all the accessories.
I saw that, and it's like you got $100 more worth of accessories in order to complete that tour. If
Nothing
you will
ever beat the Wii Sports, except maybe Astro's Playground or Astro's Playroom. Is that what it is? PS5?
Astro's Playroom. Yeah, that was really good.
That was completely free. My kids still play that today.
Did you pick up Astro Bot? You did, right?
Oh yeah, I did.
Second one?
They played the hell out of that.
Yeah, that was Game of the Year last year. So that game was awesome. My son loves those games.
They start new game files, save files of Astro's Playroom just to replay it. They've probably replayed it at least 10 times.
Yep.
Even though they have Astrobot.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
They keep going back to that one.
Keep going back, and it's free.
And that was free.
That was free.
I
don't think there was any free games on the Xbox. And I'm trying to think of it. I don't think there was.
So I don't know if this is shameful or not, but I've never owned an Xbox.
I've owned 2.
I never got into that ecosystem.
3.
That's just never been my.
I've owned 3.
Never been my thing. I've been a PlayStation purist ever since the PlayStation 1 came out, and never should the two meet. And I think we talked about it last time. Like my brain couldn't rewire itself for the different control configurations because Where on the PlayStation, like I'd play the same games. Like I distinctly remember playing like NFL Blitz or something, and the PlayStation controller, like the button to tackle someone was like square, and on the Xbox controller, it was like the next button over from it. It was like the top button, and I couldn't rewire myself, and I was playing so bad. I gave up. I was like, well, I guess this console isn't for me because I can't play games on both. Yeah, clearly that was the solution, not just get better.
I do have a controller right here, actually. So I use this one for my PC mostly, but it is different. I mean, they're kind of the same.
And naturally, my controller of choice for my PC is a PlayStation controller. It's just that's just how it is. That's so funny. And you just get used to those things.
You just get used to it, yeah. But like it takes me maybe 10 seconds to switch my brain over to PlayStation controls. And then you have to change it again when you go to Nintendo Switch controls because those are different too.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. So Jesse, we did trivia last time. It was a lot of fun. I got mine wrong. Are you prepared for my trivia question tonight? That
no.
I think is a softball. And every time I think something might be a softball, it's not. So I'm ready with my question if you're ready with one for me. So mine's pretty... Listen, I think it's easy. Chat, do not help him if you guys are in here. So here we go. Which character in an NES game is known as Rockman in Japan?
Rockman. Oh, man.
You got a while to think about it.
Rockman.
Which video game character is known as Rockman in Japan?
Okay. So my question, how many worlds are available in Super Mario Brothers 3?
Oh, no. I'm like second guessing now. I'm trying to remember. Like Ludwig's world was world 7, and then you go. Okay. I'm going to stick with my gut on this as we get to the end, but watch me be wrong here, and that's going to be really, really funny. All I remember is using the friggin' 2 warp whistles to get to the end. I never played all the levels.
I remember going...
Who does that nonsense?
Is it World 4? There's like a place where you can go behind the end.
I think it's like World 1-3.
Maybe, yeah. You can go behind and it warps you to like 4, and then you can warp 8, and like, yeah.
Did you know you could use a warp whistle from the warp whistle zone and it takes you all the way to the end if you have 2 warp whistles?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you don't have to like go all the way and clear another area or anything. You can just warp, and you're at the end. It's nuts. So, fun fact about me is I love watching tool-assisted speedruns of old video games. Tool-assisted, people will say it's cheating because they can play the games at a super low frame rate and everything. Sure, it's cheating. But the real recording is super entertaining to watch. Like, they do things that they have no business doing, like watching someone play Gradius in a tool-assisted speed run where they don't get touched. And not only that, but in the ones where they have to just go with the screen that's going. To keep you entertained, they just circle around enemies and bullets and everything. And it's so fun to watch. That's one of my guilty pleasures on YouTube is tool-assisted speed runs on video games. And every once in a while, my brain will be like thinking about a nostalgic game. I'll be like, let me watch a Castlevania tool-assisted speed run, or Simon's Quest, which is such a convoluted Castlevania game. That was the first one I played, by the way. Anyway.
I like watching there's the Mario Maker. You can make like Mario levels that are like insanely hard.
Some of those. And the people that like clear those levels are super patient and super talented.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience to die 100 times in a row before I figure out the first jump.
No.
Because that's what it takes.
I mean, it takes the people to beat it and the people to make the level.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, they have to make talented. It. Yeah, they have to make it doable.
Yeah, they have to make it. And they've beaten it. They've done it. So.
Yeah, those are fun. I watched one of my buddies play that when that came out on the Switch, and I was like, nope. I got better things to do. It's cool. It's really cool. And I love, as I swipe through, I'll get like one of those reels on TikTok, the skinny dude with like the beard, and he's got his fingers on the control. It's fun to watch. So anything else about the Wii, Jesse, you want to talk about?
Thank you, Wii. Thank
you, Nintendo. So I got a fun console for you guys. So let's talk about my absolute favorite console. The one I spent the most hours on. I own the most games. It was my ride or die console, if I had to pick one system to define my formative years as a gamer,
The Atari Jaguar.
PlayStation 2 wins, hands down. So, PlayStation 2 was released March 4th, 2000. I was 17 years old. No, that's a lie.
I say, no, I don't think that's right.
I was 19 years old. I was 18 years old. I would turn 19 that November. Math is hard, guys. Listen, I would turn 19 that November.
On a Friday.
I just got out of my last semester of high school, so I was 18. Yeah, there we go. 18 turning 19. I wrote it down. If I just read my notes, guys. Listen, the good news was I was working part-time that summer. I worked at a ballpark. It was really fun. That was one of the best jobs I ever had. That's a story for a different kind of podcast. The bad news, I didn't have the scratch to buy one. And that winter, winters in upstate New York, Jesse, they're long. They're very long.
They were.
And they're very long to not have the newest gaming console, especially when you're still in school and your weekends are free and you don't have real life responsibilities like a mortgage payment, children, and all kinds of other stuff that we do now. So, yeah. This gaming product of mine, I rented. I was bailed out by our local video store. They had 2 PlayStation 2s to rent. And I'll tell you, man, I rented it so many times. Like, shout out to Super Video in Colony, New York, because they got so much money for me renting this console. And it was $100 down payment, which I had from my parents. I begged them to give them $100 deposit in case I broke this console. And they would do that just so we could rent that game for a weekend.
So it was like a rent to own?
No. We got the $100 back when we returned the console. And, I don't think it was until sometime in 2001 that I managed to get my hands on one. So let's talk a little bit about the PlayStation 2. Sporting close to 4,400 games released over the lifetime, the PS2 owns the largest library of games released for any console ever. And I own no shortage of games. I probably had somewhere between 40 and 50 over the lifetime of owning that console. Now, that said, for comparison, I probably had the same number of NES games over the lifetime of the NES. But, you got to realize, EB Games was a thing at that time. So I was buying, selling, trading, you name it, for new ones. I remember I used to buy Madden every year, and they do like a Madden trade-in deal where they'd give you a little bit more than they usually would for Madden if you were getting the new Madden game every year. Otherwise, the Madden games would be like $5 a week after release. It was complete criminal. We're paying $60 for a Madden game, and
80.
You take it out of the box and you bring it back to EB Games a week later after you're bored with the franchise mode, and they're like, "I'll give you $10 for it." Really? This game's a week old? $10. Take it or leave it. Sometimes it was take it. Like, I remember selling games specifically and arguing with the guys, like, what do you mean this is a $5 game? Well, there's a billion of them in the store, and okay, man.
Hasn't gotten any better.
Right? So PlayStation 2 was part of the 6th generation of gaming consoles, and it was in a 128-bit world. Pretty cool stuff, because if you remember, the bits doubled every time. 8, 16, 32, Nintendo 64, ring any bells? PS2, GameCube, 128-bit world. Really cool stuff. And it rocked a 294.912 megahertz processor. Guys, my smart fridge has a better processor in it than that thing did.
My Apple Watch does.
My toaster is better than this. And this thing had 40 megabytes of memory, which honestly is it's all laughable today, but it was revolutionary back then. And that's just the world we were in at the time. So this machine was top of the line. The graphics were cutting edge. The GPU was also awesome. I couldn't figure out, as I was looking at Wikipedia specifically, what the GPU was when we were talking, when I was looking at the specs on the machine. Because they had like a bunch of different specs on it and names for it, and it didn't specifically call it a graphics processing unit. It was some bougie name that sounded really cool, I think.
And GS 2250NM.
What Jesse said.
Yeah. It was, that had a whopping 4 megabytes of memory.
That's great. So the thing with the graphics were they were cutting edge at the time, and everything looks so real compared to those polygons that we had on the PS1. You know, we joke about like the Tesla Cybertrucks and how it's just a PlayStation 1 graphics truck all the time. Like the Cybertruck is PS1 graphics, and we are in a PS5 world now.
It's a dumpster on wheels.
But, you know, and the memory cards were 8 megabytes, guys. You could hold like dozens of game saves on there. Dozens.
You can't hold a song on there now.
Like my iPod Nano held more data than that. And they were your lifeblood. Like I remember my first year away at college, we did an icebreaker for all the RAs. I was an RA, and they call it a fire drill. So we're sitting out in the quad somewhere, and they're like, all right, fire drill. I want you to go back to your dorm room and get some of the most important things to you because your dorm room is going to be burned down. What does Bob get? What does gamer dad Bob get? I just grabbed my memory cards. I was like, I don't know.
Forget my clothes.
Screw that. Screw any sentimental things. I grabbed my PlayStation memory cards, and it was like, but guys, I have like 200 hours in Final Fantasy X on this thing. Like, this is my lifeblood. This is it. And I definitely
got when Bob never got girls in college.
I got laughed at for sure. I mean, but that was what mattered to me at that point. I grabbed those memory cards. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. So let's talk about the games. So let me talk about the game that I was most pumped up for. And listen, it was not Final Fantasy X. I know you guys know me. I know you guys know I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. And Final Fantasy X was not the game that I was pumped up for. It was Madden 2001. I am still a huge football fan. I'm a big Bills fan. And the leap in graphics, if you remember, Jesse, from PS1 Madden to PS2 Madden was absolutely insane. Like, the tackle animations were actually tackle animations. If you recall going from the PlayStation graphics, like, your guy would be like just a straight arrow knocking a dude down, and they just, you know, like a domino. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. And in the PlayStation 2, they actually built tackle animations in. They built catch animations in. It felt real. And my friend and Brian and I, we played the crap out of this game just because we wanted to kill each other, I guess. And you know, even to the point where Jerry Rice was still in the league at this point, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, wasn't we the Raiders?
I believe so. And they still made him broken as hell. Like,
yeah.
He would catch the ball one-handed, like just pop it right out of the air. I hope you guys heard anyway. And we just coined it the Jerry Rice because that's what the animation was. And it was overused in the game. Like, any receiver that was decent in that game could Jerry Rice it. You know, they talk about mossing people in real life now. But if you just overthrew them a little bit, good receiver, and it was like Velcro. The ball would just pop to their hand and they'd catch it one-handed and run on, and you'd beat everybody. And we played so much of that game. Like, and even by 2002, I was of legal drinking age, and we started, you know, getting a little bit angrier and frustrated when that sort of thing happened. Shockey was, God, what was he? He must have been 2004. Jeremy Shockey was a cheat code in Madden. All right, we Tiger in chat here. We actually banned the tight end slant because you literally couldn't stop it because of Jeremy Shockey in that game. We just banned the play.
He came into the league in 2002.
Okay.
Drafted by the Giants, first round, 14th pick.
Yeah. And Tiger's a Giants fan, and boy did he play the crap out of Jeremy Shockey until we banned the play. Even he realized, even Tiger was like, I don't know, man. This isn't cool. I could run the same play the entire game and absolutely house you. I'm going to do something else at least. So, I mean, those games did have their flaws, but they were so much fun. And those were really the fact that the PlayStation 2 had the processing power, the graphical power to build those kinds of animations in where the blocks looked real. I mean, because if you watch the old games, they just kind of bump up against each other or rub and then, you know, slide off. These actually felt real. And then, like, I remember some of the other early games that came out, like ATV Off-Road Fury was like heavily advertised when PS2 came out. And it was nothing special. It was just an ATV racing game. It was pretty fun.
That was on the Wii as well, or something like it.
Maybe one of the iterations further down. And the amount of drinking and racing that we did with that game was just crazy. And we'd be yelling at each other because you could kind of kick people if you were getting next to them. Like there was a kick thing.
Remember Road Rash?
Road Rash back in the Nintendo
It was like
days.
that, yeah,
man. And we played the hell out of that. And it was like, why are we playing this crappy game? So let's dig into some of the more heavy hitters. And I based a lot of this off of Metacritic scores for some of the top PlayStation 2 games. First game, top game of all time. What do you think? Well, you're looking at the notes. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I was not a Tony Hawk fan. I wasn't a skateboarding fan, so those games missed me. There's like 3 GTA games in the top 5.
I never got into GTA.
I never got into the GTA games either. Those games missed me. I have 0 hype levels for GTA 6.
I mean, it's a $100 game. 0
hype levels. Is it really?
It's going to be $100. Yeah, that's what everybody's saying.
I have negative hype levels for it now. Resident Evil 4.
Oh my God. It's so good. Even today, it's still good.
The remake. Have you played the remake?
I have not played the remake.
Resident Evil 4 was game changing. Like that game really ramped up the survival horror genre.
I still have the GameCube version over there.
And I played the version. I played the PlayStation Resident Evil games. I played 1, 2, and 3. And then that game came out, and my buddy Pete introduced it to me on his GameCube. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I remember like screaming, like literally shouting when the chainsaw guy snuck up on you in the first, because you don't know what to avoid and everything, and he just cuts your friggin' head off. And it's graphic. And it's startling when they get you. Because the whole game freezes, you get the chainsaw animation, Leon gets his head chopped off, and you get the game over screen, And like I remember actually shouting when that happened. I was like, so that game, and then they ported it to the PlayStation 2. And that was a really well done port. Like all the controls felt the same, it felt natural. And then when I had it for the PS2, I lost count of the amount of playthroughs I did. And it had a new game plus feature, depending on how fast you got like the Tommy gun or infinite bazookas and stuff. So I had so much fun with it. And then let's see, what's another one that I played a lot of? Gran Turismo 3. I lost count of the hours I put into the Gran Turismo games in total. So many hours to the point where I burned out my PlayStation 3. With the 24-hour races, because you literally have to keep your console on for those races, and you can either manually run them or you can run it in B-spec mode, where you spec the car out and the computer drives it to the best of its ability, and you wake up the next morning and you won the race or you finished second and you got to do it again. But I burned out my PS3 playing Gran Turismo on it because it was on too long. It overheated.
Yeah. So you did Gran Turismo, I did Forza on the Xbox.
Forza was so good. Like, I'm not someone that's like a racing game snob. Both those games were so good in their own right.
I'm waiting for the next Gran Turismo. Now that I have a PlayStation 5, I will 100% be buying it. Because I saw 7 wasn't that good.
It was not good.
Yeah, that's why I didn't get it.
Economy was really, really off.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and hopefully they fix that for whatever they do next. Because the game itself was fun. But like progressing in it got super grindy because the economy was bad. And then it got to the point where like some of the races where like Gran Turismo, it's like, let's race a Mazda Miata, and you can only race a Mazda Miata. It got to the point where if you didn't have your car like perfectly tuned and ran perfect lines, you just couldn't win the race because the cars were all even, dead even. And yes, that's like real life, but it was too real because you couldn't progress. So I think the next Gran Turismo game needs to find a balance there. Let's see what else. My buddy Brian, he owned all the Devil May Cry games, so he let me borrow them and play them. Those were a lot of fun back in the day, and like the remasters, I picked them up because they were really cheap a few weeks ago, and I tried playing it. Did you know there's no dodge buttons in those games?
Really?
There's no dodge button in Devil May Cry.
Did that turn into the beach volleyball, or is that something different?
That's Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Oh man, I remember the controversy over that too. Dead or Alive, their jiggle physics was it was legendary. But the Devil May Cry games, there was no dodge button, and I was playing it. I was like, how did I ever beat this game? Because I did. I beat 1, 2, and 3. But now I looked at it and I'm like, how did I get? And it was easy for me. It was intuitive.
Reflexes.
It was easy. And now it's It's not. And then, God of War debuted 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who think God of War is only the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 versions, it's not. They're excellent, excellent games by their own right. But the original God of War games were hack and slash adventure games.
Yes, they were.
And button mashing delights. And you could dodge in those games. They were some of the best games that we had at the time. And the quick time actions, that was the first that I recall seeing in a video game where you had to complete the quick time actions to do stuff. It was just revolutionary development. And then we had our fair share of side fighter games like Tekken 3, Tekken Tag Tournament, Virtua Fighter 4, Soul Calibur 2. Soul Calibur 2. Do you remember Soul Calibur 2 had a different guest fighter depending on the system that you played it on?
Yeah, I have it on either Wii or GameCube. I don't know which one I have it on, but I have Soul Calibur 2.
Link was your guest fighter on the Wii.
Sure was.
Do you remember who was for Xbox?
I think it was, what's his face from Halo.
No, it wasn't Master Chief.
No, it wasn't Master Chief. Really? What does Spawn have to do with Xbox?
I have no clue. But Todd McFarlane must have really rallied to have Spawn in that game.
Yeah.
And the guest fighter in the PlayStation ones was, why am I blanking on that?
The Xbox one, but not the PlayStation.
Right? Who was the Soul Calibur 2 guest fighter? PS2. Oh, it was Heihachi from Tekken. He was a lot of fun to play in Tekken. But we played those games, and we played so many fighting games to the point where like Tekken Tag Tournament was all we played. And I had to get the multi-tap for it. So all four of us that hung out could play together. We'd team up with our partner, and we'd tag in, tag out, because that was the name of the game. And we got so good at Tekken Tag as a group, all four of us, that it became like a chess match of dip, duck, dive, dodge, duck, whatever,
Dodgeball.
And the first hit typically would just win the fight because the other person wasn't getting up at that point. So it just became this crazy chess match of, dodging and ducking and blocking and sidestepping and attempting to throwing and countering. And it was like a dance. That's how we described it.
Were you the average Joes or were you the Globo Jim?
I was probably Globo Jim. I'm going to say this. I'll have to ask two of the guys I still talk to that we played with who the best person at Tekken was. I think it was me, but that would make me the Globo Jim, right? And
yeah, it would.
And the average Joes would take me down every once in a while. But I mean, and then you mix that with drinking. Your reflexes are diminished. Things got wild with Tekken Tag, man. And we'd be screaming at each other. It'd be midnight.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy's mom slept like the dead, so thankfully she didn't hear us shouting at each other. And she was okay with it. God bless her. Brian's mom, the best, let us play in his basement. On a tiny, 19-inch TV, we'd be playing Tekken Tag on top of the big TV, the big old TV, because if that wasn't 80s, 90s, 2000s style, I don't know what was. You take the newer TV and you prop it on top of the big TV case.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, so we did so many of those. And then, the multi-tap also was great for playing Madden because you could play two players on each team that way, which would be really, really rough because if you had the same reflexes as your partner and you're going to intercept the pass, you would change guys to try and intercept the pass, and then they would change guys to try and intercept the pass, and neither of you would select the guy nearest the ball. And you'd both run away from the ball, and the pass would be complete, and they'd just get a touchdown. So you had to literally call mine, if you were playing a game of volleyball, so that you didn't screw up playing defense. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. Okay, so now with all of that out of the way, I want to touch on why this was actually the best console for me. And it was the role-playing game revolution that it brought forth. It was heaven on earth. So Final Fantasy X, yes, that was a landmark game, but it wasn't the only hit. Games like Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, Dark Cloud, Legaia 2, Jade Cocoon 2, Ephemeral Fantasia, they were all gems. And listen, the Lord of the Rings hype was it was an EA game. It was skinned basically.
Yeah, it was on GameCube too. I played that.
It was basically skinned from Final Fantasy X, exact same combat system, a little bit different tweaking to skill improvement, special attacks and everything. But I mean, it was the Third Age, and it basically followed the Fellowship along through the entire game, and you'd level up, and it was so much fun. And they do cutscenes and intersperse movie scenes in with the game and everything. It was a cash grab. Let's face it. It was a cash grab based on the popularity of the Lord of the Rings movies. But it was a very playable game engine. And then I found myself seeking as many RPGs as I could. And I mentioned Ephemeral Fantasia. Yes, that was a real game. And it was like a weird time travel-y Majora's Mask style game where there's a time loop that you got to break. And there was a protagonist who had a talking guitar. It had Guitar Hero elements in it before Guitar Hero existed.
I gotta look this up now.
It's one of my favorite RPGs of all time, and it was super janky.
There's a YouTube video that comes up that says worst JRPGs ever. Number 6, Ephemeral Fantasia.
Not to me. That game was awesome. And the bad guy was a Sephiroth clone. He looked just like him. The long gray hair.
That's funny.
It was really funny. But like back
IGN
then,
gave it a 4.2.
Perfect. But back then, like the days of multiple discs were gone. You know, we discs to hold all of your data. These were DVD ROMs. So they held so much more. We didn't have to change discs. The world was your oyster as a game dev. And then let's not forget Kingdom Hearts and what that did for gaming, right? Kingdom Hearts combined Disney and Final Fantasy in a way it should not have. And it worked. It totally worked. People fell in love with that game. My wife played that on my PlayStation 2. That was her first journey into Kingdom Hearts and basically gaming. Like she played GameCube every once in a while at her family's house and everything, and they had some fun. But like Kingdom Hearts really, really opened the door for her on that. And she played it through. She finished the game. She loved it. Then she played Kingdom Hearts 2. And she just, you know, blazed through those games. And think about this. The PlayStation 2 had such a long lifespan. It spanned all 7 years I was in college. Yes, you heard me right. I was in college for 7 years. It's okay. A lot of people go to school for 7 years. No, I'm not a doctor.
Okay, Van Wilder.
Yeah. It wasn't until fall of 2006 that the PS3 came out. So we had 6+ years of some of the most amazing games to date. And all of these games were hits. You like a genre? You got it. Need a racing game? PS2's got you covered. Need a fighting game? Covered. RPG? Covered. Hack and slash. Hey, have you heard of Dynasty Warriors? The system was just stacked with a variety of games. Man, the hours I put into Dynasty Warriors. Like, lost track. Again, my buddy Brian and I would go through these games and go full completionist. Like, we get all the ultimate weapons, which would be...
Did they have trophies back then? Like the bronze?
I don't remember. I don't think those were instituted till PS3 days, but don't quote me on that. Because trophies required an online presence, which the PlayStation 2 was capable of. I mean, let's face it, nobody's internet was good enough at the time to really have that thing plugged in constantly. But we went completionist, and I put so many hours. What about action-adventure, set in Japan, featuring demons and a clan of ogres? Have you guys heard of Onimusha 1, 2, and 3? Got it covered. By the way, the new Onimusha game, there was a new trailer released today in the summer festival or whatever it is. The new Onimusha game looks amazing, and it looks like it's going to live up to the first 3 games. And just a little game by the name of Guitar Hero debuted on PlayStation 2. You ever heard of it?
So many hours of Guitar Hero.
So many hours.
Flames. Did you ever complete through the Fire and Flames?
On medium.
Yeah, never on the hard.
I couldn't get through it on hard, let alone expert. Guitar Hero 1, Guitar Hero 2, Guitar Hero 80s, and then PlayStation 3 came along. Guitar Hero 3 on PlayStation 3, Rock Band on PlayStation 3. I played a lot of Rock Band.
I have my Rock Band, the guitar, and the drums in my other room over here.
I am super close to seeing if I can find some cheap Rock Band instruments again, because I think we chucked them after our last move. And a PlayStation 3 or just emulating them on my PC and playing again. I'm dying to just play with some fake plastic instruments because unlike Jesse, I can't play the real thing. So like the fake plastic instruments are all I got.
Yeah, after having Rocksmith, I can't. I don't know if I can even play Rock Band anymore.
I believe you. I mean, this system was the best part of my gaming in my college years, and I look back on those years as some of the best of my life so far. And let's realize something here. PlayStation 2 was part of 53 million other households in the United States alone. and it sold about 160 million worldwide, which a record it held until recently. The Nintendo Switch has overtaken the PlayStation 2 as the greatest selling console of all time. Man, I mean, it influenced my taste in gaming. It opened up new genres to me that I never thought I'd be into. And damn it, they were all banger games. Like, they were just all good. And, well, maybe not all of them, but like, they were better than the slop we get nowadays.
Well, now it's just whatever can make the most amount of money the quickest.
The studios they weren't as profit driven as they were now. And that's what makes me sad. I want to go back to the days where developers just made games to be awesome. We got heart in the design. Even the oddball titles had some soul. Like today, too many games feel like cash grabs. Back then, it was about fun first. And I miss that era. Jesse, save me before I go full old man yells at cloud here. Because like this is
there's some glimmer of hope because we have Expedition 33.
Oh,
that's a cheaper than the $80 game. Short, to the point, made to be good. You have Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, which I know you haven't played, but it's another cheaper game. It's just like Skyrim, but it's phenomenal gameplay. I mean, once Oblivion and Bethesda fix Oblivion, that's another cheaper game. Granted, it's a remake, but
I think a lot of people were craving a good remake of that, though. Like I think they did right by the community.
Now Morrowind is next. Like if they can make Morrowind and a better engine, that'd be cool. But there are some indie games that are kind of sparking interest.
Yeah,
like Pal World. Like
that's true.
Like, I mean, granted, they're getting sued to the ground, but still, there's some indie stuff that's out there that's coming out.
There are some studios that care about making good games. Like Larian Studios said it best when they accepted their Game of the Year award. They said make games that your devs want to play.
Yeah,
because if they want to play them, your consumers will want to play them. And I very much expect Clair Obscur Expedition 33 to win Game of the Year this year.
Friggin' better.
The only thing that I think might challenge it is Ghost of Yoete from Sucker Punch Studios.
Either one.
And truth be told, exactly that, Jesse. I would be fine with either of those games. Ghost of Tsushima was one of the prettiest, best games I played in years and years and years.
I finally finished the main quest of that, and it absolutely gutted me.
Yeah,
you absolutely gutted me.
You think? I mean,
absolutely gutted me.
You could say spoilers, but the game's like what, 4 years old now, at least. Yeah, it was tough. Here you go, guys. Developers, any of you guys listening, game studios. You want to really get your middle-aged people, Jesse and my age, just make us friggin' cry at this point.
Oh my God.
Just make us cry. Clair Obscur.
The first, 15 minutes? I was tearing up.
Like, just make us cry. That's all.
That opening scene, oh my God.
Everything about that game was perfect. It was just chef's kiss. I absolutely love it. Man, all of this really takes me back. PlayStation 2 is why I am the gamer I am today. It truly is. So, Jesse, do you remember my trivia question?
Rockman in Japan?
Which video game character is known as Rockman in Japan?
My guess is Bomberman.
That's actually a really good guess. It's wrong, but it's a really good guess because I think Bomberman is from the same studio. I need to double check that. Not the same studio. I would be wrong. Hudson Soft make Bomberman. Interesting. What if I told you this is a Capcom studio game?
Capcom? I don't know a whole lot of Capcom. I know they've made Resident Evil.
Yeah, right. Early Capcom.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
Okay. Well, we're not going to make Jesse suffer a whole lot. It's Mega Man.
That's what I was thinking. The blue guy with that shoots things. I thought that was Bomberman.
Nope.
Son of a bitch.
So Jesse's brain told him the right guy in his mind's eye, but he couldn't get the right guy. Yeah, it's this guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I thought that was Bomberman.
Nope. Okay. Mega Man.
So yours, how many worlds are available in Super Mario Brothers 3 for NES?
So we're not talking like total each individual level. We're talking worlds, right?
Worlds.
I'm going to lock in 8 and I'm going to stick with it. And I feel like it's a trick, but I'm going to say 8.
The trick. There are 9.
There is 9.
Grass, desert, water, giant, sky, ice, Pip. I don't know what Pip is. Dark.
Pip.
And the warp zone.
Oh, the warp zone counts.
The warp zone counts. So if you don't count warp zone,
that's where it's a trick.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fair. That's
I don't
fine.
know. What is Pip? What is Pip?
I don't I don't.
Secret update to Mario. It's a hidden level, apparently.
Sure, it's not Pipeland.
It might be. I copied and pasted, so it might be Pipeland. Yeah, it is
It's Pipeland. All right. Yes, Pipeland
Thanks.
is level 7.
Level 7. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. He
I
got
have
me.
a bonus question for you.
Okay.
Because this will be the last time I have 3 NES questions, and next time I want to do different ones. This one should be super easy. What is the name of the light gun for the NES?
God, didn't they just call it the Zapper?
NES Zapper. Yep.
Okay.
NES Zapper.
Here's where I'm struggling. Everything I'm second guessing. Like, wait a minute. Did my child brain call it that, and that's not what it actually was?
Nope, it was called the Zapper.
The Zapper. So, going back to the old NES stuff, did you ever play on a power pad for the NES
I never
days?
did. No.
So you never even got to experience like the track and field games on the power
Nope.
pad or anything?
Nope.
So my friend Anna had one, and we'd hang out at her house, and we used to cheat.
Yeah. I've never seen that. I don't think I used it, but I remember seeing it.
There were later Nintendo bundles that came with the track and field power pad as opposed to the Mario Duck Hunt light gun.
Yeah,
combination.
Mine was the Duck Hunt.
Yeah,
like I said, I used to just hold the gun up like against the TV.
Same. Yep, exactly the same. I mean, what kid didn't?
Yeah.
What
Back
kid
when
didn't?
like touching the TV with it wouldn't destroy the TV because it was actual glass.
Could you imagine that today? Like the destruction of your flat screen TV with something like. I don't think the light would bounce properly either.
Probably not.
For a gun like that to work. Like you probably need a CRT TV for that to function. I hope you guys enjoyed this little trip back through memory lane and what are objectively the best consoles ever. There's no debate here. Next podcast for us, we are interviewing some cool people, hopefully. I have lined up the creator of the Wooburg Sky Discord, Wooburg Sky Commander Night, Ryan. You still hanging out here, Ryan? And one of their moderators, Gabe Soros. It should be really, really cool. This is a really cool up-and-coming Discord community, super inclusive, always have Commander games firing, a lot of good people. Ryan seems like the most amazing guy and what he's doing for this community, what he does for the Magic community. This dude has bought like everybody's branded t-shirts. Like, can you imagine how he's posted pictures of like at least 10 t-shirts in the last couple of weeks that he's ordered from people. And like, think about the level of donation that is, because those shirts are $20-$30.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is doing amazing things for the Magic community, and we get to talk to him in 2 weeks and what he's doing for the community. So I'm really excited for that. So next podcast is Magic Gathering. We're back to that. And then we'll have to come up with something to talk about for video games. I think clearly we won't run out of things to talk about. So we'll be back for more on that. Jesse, any last words as usual?
Wait to buy the Switch 2. And make sure if you do buy it,
Don't let them staple the damn receipts.
I can't believe that was an actual thing, but it was. It
was all over, too. Like, it was not just onesie twosies.
So the box, for people that are actually watching, is super flimsy. It is super thin. Like, there is where it was.
Staple go right through it.
It's super thin. It's super thin. It goes, and it's face up. The screen is face up. Yeah.
But I think Jesse's right. Wait to buy that Nintendo Switch 2 right now. The games aren't there. The existing games haven't been patched or upgraded yet to have full functionality. Like I even saw that like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, some of them don't even work.
Oh yeah, I haven't tried. I don't own those.
I bought them specifically to have a roaming console where I can play the Pixel remasters on for the original Switch, and I would want to have that same functionality in the Switch too.
I don't own the OLED Switch. But if you own the OLED, you're going to be super disappointed because it's nothing compared to the OLED.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe in like 2 years, 3 years, whenever they bring the OLED out, I'll probably buy that too.
All right.
That will be the one to have.
So you heard it here first. Hold off on the Switch 2. I think Jesse makes some valid points on that. But if you like what you're seeing, leave something in the comments. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you want to hear about gaming. Tell us what you didn't like. I don't know.
Tell us why a PC is actually the best console.
Oh, stop it. I can't call it a console. I think PC is probably one of the better ways to game, but I can't call it a console.
If you really wanted to, you could build a smaller PC and a small
God.
chassis.
Here we go. Jesse's like, and you can build an OS into it that's like
no, I was
Linux
gonna use
based.
the Steam, like whatever they call it, the Steam OS or the Steam big picture view, I think they call it.
Oh yeah.
And it's just that. It seems like a console.
Just buy a Steam Deck.
That too, yeah. I honestly buy a Steam Deck over a Switch 2.
That's what a lot of people are saying. Hold off on the Switch 2, folks. Thanks again for hanging out. Be awesome out there. And we'll see you next time.